Okay, so we're just going to quickly go over what your final is, where to find it, when it's due, and some opportunities you have after that. So your final, you're going to find it in the classwork section where it says your final, point of view, perspective, policy, etc. You must, and then you'll see it looks something like this. You must read the directions. That refers to the directions on this document. We'll get there in just a second. Use the create button to make a doc. You'll find it somewhere on the right side or next to your work. And best of luck. If this is late, then the video call on Wednesday is super suggested, right? Like, swear to God, you should be there. If you submit it today, you've only got to do attendance on Wednesday. But if I haven't graded it by then, you can also pop in and go like, hey, can you grade this? All right. Um, Not that. So when you click on that sheet, you will get this document. Okay, and this is the one I made a quick video on, but I wanted to again just go over this. So over the last few weeks, we've looked at how the novel shows us something about our lives, right? We've had those discussions with our group, like especially that one yesterday, where you drew a bunch of triangles, where you guys talked about, how the values in reflect, reflect and create the perspective, which then reflects and creates the policy that actually happens in our real world, the social norms, the rules, the laws, etc. Um, we've looked at how the society mirrors our own. You guys have looked at how like that conflicts or contradicts or goes or agrees with your values. And we've used visuals. Remember, you've done a lot of this stuff before. Do not be afraid to like go back and look at that work. Your final has two parts, okay? And I want both of them in the same document. Or honestly, that would just make it really easy for me. Please do that. I want you to draw a value, perspective, and policy pyramid based on your book, right? Remember the triangles we drew? The ones you drew as part of your group conversation last week? Yeah, I want you to submit one of those, right? That has to do with your book. Then, in a 1 to 2 page, well-written reflection, or a 2 to 3 minute video or audio like speech. If you don't want to write a whole thing, you don't have to. You can do it this way. I want you to compare and contrast both your life, our world, and the book that you're reading. Okay, you must describe what you learned about your life or our world from reading the book. So think of it like one of those Venn diagrams with three things. Um, so another way to look at it is I wrote three-way Venn diagram, but I'm going to wait for a second to show you guys what the image results look like. Okay, perfect. This is safe. So think it's like you're writing a reflection that does one of these, right? It compares and contrasts three different things. Now, here are some questions to guide your reflection. You can answer each one of these in a paragraph. Keep in mind, you have to like write like a 10th grader. That means you have to do things like be specific, right? You must use specific examples for how the book is similar to our life in our world, specific examples for how the book is different from our life in our world, like a specific thing in society for what these similarities and differences teach. Any connections you see between those and your values, and what other events, subjects, experience relate to those life lessons. These two are absolutely mandatory. And they relate to comparing and contrasting. You can't skip those two. Okay. However, any one of these, if you develop it enough, will describe what you learned about your life or our world from reading the book. So you don't have to like answer all these questions. These are there to help you, not to be just like the questions for discussion last week. These are there to help you, not to be the point, right? The point here is for you to reflect and like describe the new understanding you've come to, not to plug and chug answers to questions. You've been trained by school to do that. If you make a video, you should create a brief outline, right? Like I have my lesson plan off camera where I can see it if I need to. You guys should have that outline as well. I'm also using this as my outline. Like notice when you're making a video, you don't just wing it. You should also, and like, please, you guys have done stuff that builds toward this. You've noticed things, you've drawn the pyramids before, like use those to help you do this. You must turn this in to the point of view, perspective, and policy assignment when finished. This is going to be, and I'm going to zoom in on this and make it big, hopefully. This is the last major grade. Okay. You can't, you can't not do this. And the reason that that's important is because if you don't turn this in by like 9:59 on Monday, I'm going to put it in as missing. However, you guys know that I don't take late penalties. That's really as a communication tool between me and you and me and your parents or guardians that like you didn't do the final. That way you can come to class on Wednesday and wrap it up. So the only difference between doing it today and doing it Wednesday is if you finish it today, they're never a missing never goes in the grade book. If you finish it on what like if you don't today, I'm gonna put a missing just to let you and your parents or guardians know that like you are currently missing the final. It doesn't mean you can't turn it in. Just like it has never meant that in this class. Okay, this is a required assignment though. It's one of three. So I think that it's super fair that I put that in. Anyway, that is yeah, that's kind of the spiel on that. Right now,